Hello! I would like to welcome you to the Laramy-K Optician Works Training Center, where today we're going to pick up right where we left off last week when we were talking about regular progressive lenses, and today we are going to talk about office progressive lenses. If you find these educational videos helpful, please hit the subscribe button, please like us, and please feel free to leave me a comment. And this is directly aimed at you. If you edge in-house, please make absolutely certain that every uncut lens in your lab comes from Laramy-K. Check us out at Laramy-K.com and give us a call today. This is a drawing of a traditional progressive lens. If you didn't watch that video, you need to go back and do that because you have to grasp the concept of this before you can grasp the concept of an office design. Lots and lots of folks out there work in an office. If you're sitting at your desk and you're looking at a computer which is in the intermediate zone of an ordinary progressive lens, your eye is going to be somewhere in here. Your eye is not up here in this comfortable, big, wide open area. Your eye is going to be somewhere down in this narrow channel. And on top of that, your head is going to be up and your eyes are going to be looking down through this portion. Remember, this is up here, level-headed, looking out. Watch the other video. If I try to sit in that position for hours at a time, 8-hour long day, my neck's going to hurt, my ergonomics are going to get all messed up. It's just plain uncomfortable and also just plain kind of looks a little weird. So for a long time, people tried all kinds of things to overcome this. They would bump up the ad power so that the ad would be reached faster and you wouldn't have to lift your head so much. Of course, if you bump your ad power, what happens? Overall distortion throughout the lens increases and you got garbage. People would say, oh, just fit it really high. Well, you know, that almost kind of sort of would work. You'd lose some of your distance. This would be up here. But remember, you're talking about a narrow channel. That doesn't change. In fact, you're almost forcing them then to the narrowest point, and they're going to have this little tiny area of focus. So those didn't work out too well. So they had to drain the swamp, greenfield it, and start the design over to come up with a good working office progressive lens. And let me tell you, it took a lot of years, but we're getting really, really close. We'll get back to that in just a few moments. The magic number to start thinking about offering a customer an office progressive style or design is a +2 add and up. I think I made this mistake myself. I think I tried putting people into an office lens a little bit too soon. So always look for that 2 and up, the magic number. Remember the golden rule of optical, and once I clear the board and we get into the different designs, that'll become even clearer. The golden rule of optical is, in order to get something, you have to give up something. Okay? A universal, undeniable golden rule of optical. An office design lens is a task-specific lens. No, really, it is. And sometimes it's going to be hard to get it across to people. You know, kind of like the golden rule of retail. You know, 1 out of 10 people that you sell an office progressive design to is going to come back to you and go, I can't wear these. I can't drive with them. It's like, well, no, of course you can't drive with them. They're only for this distance or that distance, 3, 6, 12, 18. They're not going to work for that. But some people just can't grasp that. But you know, the other 9 folks that you sell them to are happy as can be. But they are a task-specific lens. Camber technology available in office lens design? Absolutely. Heck yes. And by all means, use it. For your myopes, your higher minus people with that 2 add and up, it does better image size control. Of course, minus lens minifies, plus lens magnify, you have that conflict, and the image of things viewed through the Camber technology, the base curve, variable base curve is better. And for your plus folks, it opens up that corridor, which is already getting wider in these designs, even more. So win-win either way with Camber. Herding cats, no hurting your customers. You know, you should be doing this anyhow, of course, but when you're talking about office progressive lenses, talk with them, Look at how they move their head. Look at how they sit. Look at how they're using their glasses now. Listen to them. Talk, listen, talk, listen. Good optician stuff. And in this case, and I'll show you this just in a minute, the extremely rare case that I'm actually kind of for using a visual aid. The original Office series came in a fixed distance. Everybody just thought, well, I just need it for the computer. I'll set it up so that it's my computer distance is level-headed and relaxed. I won't have to do this. I won't have to do this. But it turned out, of course, that there's no such thing as the perfect anything. So now they're available in different lengths. Let me clear the board and let me talk about that a little bit more. The Office series of lenses available from Laramy-K is called the Reboot series. It is a Laramy-K Optical Office lens. It is a design by IoT, but it is a lens produced by Laramy-K. Just mentioned, worth mentioning again, that the variable base curve technology of Camber is available and strongly encouraged in Office design lenses. Originally, they tried the one-size-fits-all. They realized that didn't work, so they've expanded now. We have a 1.3 meter, and you guys are opticians, so you should actually be thinking in metric system, but 1.3 meters, roughly 3 feet, give or take a few. 2 meters, roughly 6 feet. 4 meters, roughly 12. 6 meters, roughly 18 feet. Being obviously anything out past 6 meters, out past 20 feet, or 20/20, is, of course, an ordinary progressive lens because the eye is looking out into infinity. It is no longer accommodating in any way. These lenses are designed in the perfect world to work from 40 centimeters out to their furthest distance. So roughly your fist to your elbow, 40 centimeters, and then out. And this is where I got stuck. I started this whole process. We ended up with 3 or 4 phone calls and tons of emails back and forth with IoT to work this through. Because in my head, I thought, well, why wouldn't, at the time there was only a 12-foot, I said, why wouldn't you just choose the one that has the longest range? So, there'll be like a no-brainer. Well, go back to my very original slide there, and the law of optics, and what is that? In order to get something, you give something up. And surprise, surprise, and I wrote this down, it came out really well. As you gain visual depth, distance that you can see out clearly in that lens, you lose width in the lens corridor and increase the need for head movement. So you always want to fit the shortest distance, not the longest distance. Okay, kind of important. So if your customer is kind of in between, lean towards the 6. If they're in between 18, 12, lean towards the 12. This lens, this 3-foot, this true old-fashioned computer-only one, it is almost a single vision lens in room that you can work with. It's enormous. Very little peripheral distortion in this lens. Very comfortable at the computer distance. Relaxed, looking straight ahead. There's no movement required to see those things in the intermediate, and then look down and see something up close if you need to. But watch what happens. I go from 3 feet to 6 feet. Here comes my corridor in. I have to move my head more to find that spot that I need. I go from 6 to 12, double. Look, my corridor is shrinking. Intermediate gets spread out over a larger area. I have to move my head more. That nice, comfortable desk position, viewing point, it's not so comfortable anymore. My 18-foot, I've actually got a little bit of distance up top. I'm squeezing a whole lot more. I'm really getting into the range of an ordinary progressive lens. And I've got the optical swamp and the land of optical garbage coming back, and that head movement that's inherent in other progressive designs. So how do you decide which particular lens design you're going to put your customer in? Well, this is one of the few places that I think that perhaps a visual aid might be a better job than trying to talk through the process. And I really like that one right there. I think it's a nice drawing. I think it's colorful. I would probably have it printed in color. I think I'd laminate it, keep it near my desk. And when it came time to make that decision, I think I might have my customer simply point to number 1, 2, 3, or 4 and say, What does your office look like? If they truly work in a tiny little cubicle, they'll point to 1 or 2. If they work in an office setting, probably like where you are as an optician, they're the receptionist, well, then they probably point to 3 or 4. Choosing again that smaller or shorter distance length because you're going to open up that lens a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again next week.